Ethan Cole never liked blind dates. For a man who built a billion-dollar real estate empire from scratch, control was his comfort zone. Every day was scheduled, every detail perfected, every risk minimized. He wasn't arrogant, just practical. Life had taught him that unpredictability usually came with pain. And yet, there he was, sitting in a dimly lit Italian restaurant in downtown Boston, his Rolex ticking a little too loudly in the silence. The clinking of glasses, the low hum of jazz, and the smell of fresh basil filled the air. This wasn't the plan, Ethan muttered under his breath, tugging at his cufflinks. He wasn't supposed to be here. He wasn't supposed to be waiting for a stranger. But his 7-year-old daughter, Lily, had been the one who set this up. "You're lonely, Daddy," she had whispered last week, her small hand patting his arm. "And Mommy would want you to smile again." That was the thing about Lily, wise beyond her years, with her mother's eyes and an innocence that softened Ethan's sharp edges. He hadn't argued, not when she slipped his phone to her babysitter, who apparently knew the perfect woman for him. So now, for the first time in years, Ethan was about to open the door to unpredictability again. 2. The arrival not what he expected. When the door opened, Ethan expected someone glamorous, someone who fit the stereotype of who people thought a rich man should date. Instead, she was a broken bar different. Her name was Claire Bennett. She walked in wearing a simple navy dress, her hair tied back in a messy bun, no diamonds, no designer purse, just a warm, genuine smile that lit up the entire room. "You must be Ethan," she said, sliding into the seat across from him. Her voice was calm, soothing, the kind that carried both strength and gentleness. Ethan nodded, momentarily caught off guard. "And you're Claire." The conversation started awkwardly. He spoke about buzziness, a safe territory for him. She spoke about teaching her a world of chalkboards, children's laughter, and parent-teacher meetings. At first, Ethan thought, "We're too different." But as the night unfolded, he found himself laughing, genuinely laughing for the first time in years. Claire had a way of disarming him, pulling him out from behind the walls he had carefully built. And when she spoke about kindness, about small acts of humanity that changed lives, Ethan felt something stir inside him, as something he thought had died with his late wife. 3. The twist and unseen struggle. The date should have ended there, a pleasant night, nothing more. But as they walked out, Ethan noticed something odd. Claire hesitated when the valet brought her car. It wasn't a sleek sedan or a shiny SUV. It was a rusted hatchback that coughed and sputtered when it started. Claire flushed with embarrassment. Ethan said nothing, but he noticed. He also noticed how she waved to the valet with gratitude, as though the world hadn't shortchanged her. A few days later, when Ethan accidentally passed by the school where she taught, he saw her again. She was kneeling on the playground, patching up a little boy's scraped knee, smiling even though her shoes were worn out, her jacket fraying at the sleeves. That was when he realized that Claire wasn't just different, she was extraordinary. 4. The connection, a selflessness in action. Their lives began to intertwine. Claire met Lily, and the bond was instant. She didn't treat Lily like the billionaire's daughter. She treated her like a little girl who loved drawing rainbows and eating strawberry ice cream. One evening, Ethan found them both in the kitchen, flour all over their clothes, giggling as they attempted to bake cookies. It was chaos, messy, unplanned, imperfect, and Ethan's heart melted. Still, he couldn't shake the feeling that Claire carried a burden, something she wasn't saying. 5. The revelation, a humanities test. It came crashing down one rainy Thursday. Ethan picked up Claire for dinner, only to find her apartment dimly lit, the electricity cut off. "Clary Broken Bar, what's going on?" Ethan asked softly. She tried to smile, but her voice cracked. "I'm sorry, I should have told you. My brother Broken Bar, he's sick. I've been paying his medical bills, and well, I fall behind sometimes." Ethan's chest tightened. She wasn't weak, she was strong. She had been carrying her family on her shoulders, sacrificing everything, never asking for help. "This wasn't the plan," Ethan whispered again, but this time with a different meaning. He hadn't planned on meeting someone whose quiet strength would humble him, whose selflessness would expose his own emptiness. 6. The climax, a choice of kindness. The next week, Ethan faced a decision. His board was pressuring him to close a deal that would bulldoze a struggling neighborhood, ironically, the same one where Claire's school stood. To his investors, it was just business. To Claire, it was her students' homes, their community, their lives. Ethan sat in the boardroom, contract in hand, the weight of millions on his shoulders. For years, he had built walls of steel and glass, But now he thought of Lily's laughter, a broken bar, Claire's worn out shoes, a broken bar, the children who would lose everything. "This isn't the plan," he told the room, standing. "But it's the right thing," and he walked away from the deal. 7. The transformation, a love redefined. That night, Ethan showed up at Claire's doorstep, drenched in rain. "I didn't sign it," he said simply. "I couldn't." Claire stared at him, stunned. Then, for the first time, Ethan saw tears fill her eyes, and not from struggle, but from gratitude. "You changed everything," she whispered. "No," Ethan said, pulling her close. "You did." 8. The ending, a new plan. Months later, Ethan wasn't the man who once clung to control. He was the man who now let flour cover his suit while baking cookies with Lily and Claire. He was the man who laughed, who felt, who loved again. And one evening, as they sat together watching Lily draw another rainbow, Ethan realized the truth. "This wasn't the plan," he murmured, kissing Claire's forehead. "But it's so much better." Final message. Life doesn't always go as planned. Sometimes, the detours of the blind dates, the unexpected kindness, the unplanned laughter become the very moments that redefine who we are. And in those moments, we discover that love, compassion, and humanity are worth more than any plan we could ever make.